What's poppin' with you party people?
We are back.
And today we're discussing mature content in entertainment and how it has been used, how it can be used, and just what really defines it. So let's start off there. What do you define as mature content?
I define it as, in my opinion, mature content, the bloodiness, gore, the breaking the head off the body, like Mortal Kombat or a sword going through somebody's chest and Predator or whatever. But those are my ideas of mature entertainment. So yeah. So I mean, for me, as far as mature, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I can handle certain things to a certain limitations. But I feel like some people, especially parents of this generation and past ones, seem to have a problem with all the violence and the gore. But my thing is, nobody's forcing you to buy these things for your kids.
Yeah. Or sit through the movie in some cases.
Oh yeah.
For me personally, while I will agree to some extent that that is a part of mature content.
Yeah.
What I think is really mature content, and I think where we really need to focus our attention on is the subject matter.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, on the one hand, you brought up Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
for those of you who do not know, is the reason why we have the ESRB. Back in the day, video games didn't have a rating.
No, they didn't.
If you look far enough back, I want to say like 92 and before,
Okay. Okay.
you will find video games that do not have ratings.
Yeah.
They have been retroactively given ones now, sure, but if you look far enough back, you will find some that just don't have it.
Yeah.
And that's because at the time people just thought these were toys for kids. And to some degree they were right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say of all mediums, this is the only medium that was designed starting off for a younger audience.
Sure.
Because comics were originally meant to be sold on the cheap. That's why you see like some old comics like 10 cents on the cover. They're really sold on the cheap to soldiers in World War II.
Yeah.
Radio was, once again, just a way to pass the time. It wasn't really meant for anyone in specific. Television comes much later, but
Yeah.
like movies, back in the day, television were movies. You went to the cinema to pass the time, and you went home, maybe listened to the radio, maybe hung out, whatever it was. And cartoons, back in the day, were actually meant for adults. If you look far enough back, you will find a Porky Pig sketch where he's going son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a gun. You thought son of a bitch, didn't you? That's literally a Looney Tunes skit from way back in the day, back when they only showed them in cinema. Over time, I don't know how it happened, over time cartoons were seen, were pejorated, which means they went from one thing to another.
Yeah.
No, I think pejorated means goes from positive to negative. Either way,
Yeah.
they went from being aimed at adults to being aimed specifically at children.
Yeah.
Which was problematic because at one point, if you remember the Flintstones, Fred Flintstone and Wilma were sitting up here advertising cigarettes to kids.
Wait, what?
There were actual cigarette commercials with actual
I
Fred
don't remember
Flintstone.
that.
This was way back in the day.
Oh, okay, okay.
After I thought this was like still when they're black and white.
Oh, okay.
So they changed this recently. Well, as recent as you can be.
Yeah.
But they cracked down on it, saying that you cannot advertise this kind of stuff to kids, despite the fact that tobacco companies would advertise to the kids, and they would launch purposefully misleading ad campaigns saying that smoking is good for you. It's not.
Wow.
This was back when it was basically
I did not know that.
the Wild West. But what I'm getting is that mature content isn't just like substance abuse or gore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's supposed to add to more of an adult.
Yeah.
I would say that's adult content,
Yes.
not mature content.
Gotcha.
Mature content, in my opinion, is discussion topics, being able to talk about certain ideas in a nuanced manner. Let's say, okay, let's bring up the subject, subject of violence and whatnot. Violence, in let's say something like say Superman or Batman, is ultimately used as a last resort for all intents and purposes. They go through a lot of their episodes trying to solve the problem as non-violently as possible.
Yeah.
So the mature content there is how far can you go before the fight breaks out? And then another issue, and this is coming to a double standard when it comes to mature content. We we moan and whine, but we about blood and gore and violence and stuff like that. But really, it's like the violence usually jumps it up to a teen. Now it's like E10 for fantasy.
Yeah,
violence.
exactly. Yeah.
But like violence is fine, but when you get to even a remotely sexual connotation, that immediately spikes it to
it does.
Like I was playing the one of the games I grew up on. I would say this is one of the very very first mature games I ever played. But first one I played was Dead or Alive 2 for the Sega Dreamcast.
Okay.
And it was like demo disc. Dead or Alive, for anybody who doesn't know, is notorious for its sexual content.
Oh yeah, they are.
And when I say sexual content, I mean in terms of like provocative nature. It goes a lot of skin, a lot of TNA, a lot of abs, a lot of stuff. It's very much just like it's titillation. To put it blunt, anything more than that would immediately stamp with an adult rating, which is as high as you can go before it gets banned. But really, all it is just if you really want to get down to it, most of it is just showing off like stuff you see every day.
Yes.
Maybe like a collarbone or some shoulders, and it's like
that's about it.
It's like maybe like some bikini stuff. It's like
Yeah, I mean that's
we see that every day.
That would be considered teen, honestly.
That it would be considered teen, but I want to say it's considered teen specifically in America.
Yeah.
I think in other nations that is like a teen rating.
Yeah.
Sometimes depending on how explicit it goes.
Yeah, gotcha.
But what I'm getting at more is that we are more okay with making superficial things teen rated, and then things that really are innocuous mature rated, but we don't really take the time to really explore what mature ratings are.
Yeah, and I'm honestly glad that you delve more into the mature side and explain it in the room, because I thought when you explained it, I think Holes is an example of a good mature.
Actually, it's funny you bring up. So any of you don't know, he's talking about both the book and the Disney movie that came out in 2003 that is actually rated PG. And in my opinion, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually the perfect example of what I'm talking about.
That's for sure.
Because Holes, and we're going to watch Holes later on. We're going to talk about it later on. But Holes it touched on things of essentially, basically not treating young adults like teenagers as teenagers, basically treating them like if they make even the smallest mistake or perceived
you're guilty.
You're guilty and you're not given any bit of doubt. Now, granted, in Disney movie, it is applied equally to everybody. In the real world, we know there's a lean towards
correct,
and which they coincidentally actually touch on in the movie. They actually touch on they do touch on racism, because there's a subplot about the only black man in the city.
Yeah, which is Sam.
Dating the most beautiful white woman in the city.
Yeah,
this was back in I want to say what was it like? It had to have been 1900s.
It was somewhere around 1900s.
Because he wasn't a slave.
No, but it was after
it was after the Civil War.
Yeah, after the Civil War. But it was still the point where white folks still did not like black folks at all. Period.
If I had to guess, because it was because there were cowboys in the Wild West, I would assume. This is what I would assume. I would assume it is early 1900s. Like early 1900s.
Yeah.
And that all boils down to what's going on here. That all boils down to, and that all gives context to what's happening, because he behaves a certain way, he acts a certain way, he's very careful about what he says around certain people. But he's still, either inadvertently or he is like everybody else. He has fallen for the
like in the movie, like Sam is attracted to her, but he's not pursuing her the way the other cowboys are. Like you said, he's just doing his job, just selling his onions. But Kate, the white woman, is actually the one that's making the move
on him. Yes. Like I'm saying, this is like a mutual attraction situation.
Yes.
You see that, and we'll get more into it later. But it's like,
that's mature.
But that's mature. And then you have going back to the present day, you have instances where like the kids, and we hear about why they're there.
Yes.
Like one kid, he's called Armpit. He's there presumably for something that translates between him and his mom.
Yeah.
Another guy, he literally just casually drops it. It's like, you know, it's at one point, well, one of the characters runs away. No, both the main characters run away. And he's like, yeah, and maybe my mom will start thinking my dad will come home.
Oh yeah.
This is a PG kids movie on Disney, and and I'm not mistaken, I think it's still considered one of the best movies ever put out on the network.
No,
right?
it is that compared to the movie. Another movie I can't remember, but yes, no, but yeah, but that is the best one.
And then another one I would actually argue Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl specifically, another Disney movie with Johnny Depp,
Keira Knightley,
and Orlando Bloom, and Jeffrey Rush, because you know we deal with pirates, we deal with booze, we deal with you know like early days prostitution. So it's not like in your face. It's like for the time it's like ooh scandalous. For us it's like really. That's,
but I mean
but it still is like it touches on mature things.
Yeah.
It doesn't go too hard in.
But,
you know?
but I will say this too, also Pirates of the Caribbean too. I also think it touches on also like as far as like categorized as far as like middle class, low class, and high class.
Yeah.
Because William Turner, aka Orlando Bloom character, was low class. Keira Knightley character, Elizabeth, was high class.
Yeah.
And then her father actually did not want her to date anybody below class. They wanted high class.
Because that was the expectation of the society at the time.
Yes.
But at the same time, it also touches on the concept of morality, which I would argue is probably the most mature topic.
That is mature. Yes.
You can put in anything.
Yeah.
Because morality is such a complicated thing, and you have to be mature to handle it. And this was once again a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Aimed at young kids. Based on a Disney ride that had no story to it whatsoever.
No, that's true. Absolutely true.
And that's because, like, you know, we find out later that, you know, Will's dad is a pirate. And throughout the entire movie, we are told to demonize pirates. The only pirate we're rooting for is Jack, who is, ironically enough, a side character in the first movie.
In a way, yeah.
Well, we're gonna go back and watch it. But someone pointed out to me, it's like, yeah, the movie's about Orlando and Keira. Jack's a side character in the first movie.
Oh, that is true. Yes, no, it is true. No, you're right. Yes, I do remember.
But later on, because Johnny Depp's portrayal of the character was so wildly popular, he got a little bit more screen time in the sequels.
Yeah.
To the point where the plot basically revolves around in the third movie.
Yes.
But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is that, like, you know, we see that Jack Sparrow isn't malicious. He's not a terrible person. He's just a pirate. And he doesn't care for the laws of the time.
No, he doesn't.
Will's a good man, but he finds out that his father's a pirate, so now he's wondering, does that make me a pirate? It also goes back to probably one of the very first examples of this, and still a twist on it, Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader's revealed to Luke.
Yes.
We find out that the golden good boy is the son of at the time, at the time, the second baddest dude in the franchise to that point.
Yeah.
That we don't know the full extent of what he did, but we know that he's not someone you
Yeah. But that still hits me every time I see that scene, though, because I'm just like, even though you know what's coming, it just still hits you, because it's like, oh man, I still can't believe it's still to this day. That's his dad.
It was actually such a shock. Remember, this movie came out in like 1979, I think it was. It was such a shock that when they made Return to Jedi, right? When they made Return to Jedi, George Lucas had a child psychiatrist tell him, you have to write a scene into the next movie to basically say, no, Vader's not lying. Because kids would not believe it at the time.
Oh, bro?
I found this out
Now that I didn't know.
That I don't know if he went to a child psychiatrist or a child psychiatrist calls him up. But one of them said, if you don't explain this outright, kids will not believe it. So that's why there is a specific scene in the movie where Yoda, the one character we know has not lied to him yet, tells Luke, yes, he is telling the truth. That is your dad.
Yeah. Wow. That is now see honestly, I didn't know that either. That's new to me. That's new information to me. I didn't know that. So let me ask you another question. So since we consider hoes mature, right?
Yes.
And over the years, like mature has been defined so many times over the years.
It's been redefined
So
many
what
times.
would you consider movies like Saw then?
I would consider those basically put it like this. Put it like this. I would consider those on the same level as basically pornography.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I don't mean it in a villainizing way because I don't
No.
like villainizing things. What I mean is that
It's
it
gore porn.
it's excessive.
Yeah,
it
it
is purely there to get
No,
a rise out
no,
of you.
no,
It's
but-
not mature.
No.
It's just there.
Yeah, because no, but that's true. No, that's true. I'm glad you said that. I just want to, I just want to respect because when you had defined it a little more, hold on. Yeah, no, he's right because mature, like the definition of mature as far as for entertainment purposes, have been changed and defined so many times over the years.
Yeah.
Because how I saw it back in the day was when I was playing like for certain games, they were mature, but then as far as for movies, the same thing. But over the years, they have evolved and changed. And and I agree with you. Yeah, no, Saw is definitely like gore porn because they really go over the top, way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
And I feel like it's not just Saw. I feel like it's horror movies in general. At one point, horror movies put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into how they did their scares.
Yeah.
Yes, there was still bloody moments. There were still violent.
But it wasn't
moments.
over the top.
But when it happened, it was after a build-up to
Yeah.
something suspenseful.
But it was necessary.
What's that now?
But it was necessary though.
Yeah, but it's necessary. Nowadays, it's just done because it's expected.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like, and this is why I say it's on the same level of a porno because you're not watching a porno for the plot.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No, that is true.
Depending on which way you swing, you're not watching it for the plot. That's all I'm saying, right?
I know, but you ain't lying,
And actually at the same time, I would and it gets into that classification like what movies would you just put in that same category? To some extent, I would put the later Fast and Furious movies into that as well.
What as far as
As far as how they handle their
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, Fast and Furious, they know what the demographic is.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They are not aimed at a mature audience. They are aimed at
adults.
I would actually say like 14 and up.
Yeah.
I would say 14 and up.
That's
going,
the range.
Yeah, going as far back as the first movie.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I enjoyed the first four. Like two.
Actually, no. Actually, no. Look, now it's confusing. It's the Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, and Fast 5.
Which one was Fast and Furious? I don't know.
Fast and Furious is where Brian went back to being a cop. Dom found out that Letty died, and that's Fast and Furious.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Then the first four, I'm
Gotcha.
big fans of.
Okay, yeah.
The later ones kind of lost me, but that's the discussion
Yeah,
for another time.
but I get what you're saying though. Yeah, because honestly, like for some people, not me, for some people, they're just going for the entertainment purpose, not for the plot. I get it. I completely agree with that.
And I feel like that, to some extent,
Yes.
in my opinion, is the fault of the Hollywood studios and parents who don't understand what mature content is.
Well, of course.
Because I feel like directors and actors, they just want to have fun doing their job, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they're only in it to basically make what they feel.
Yes,
you know. But the studios are trying to profit.
Yes.
And the parents expected to raise their kids.
Yeah, but and see, for me, that's the issue though. To back to what I said, nobody's forcing them to watch this.
Yeah.
So why is that when a parent complains to a certain company, movie company, you guys have to change certain things for them?
Yeah.
That to me is unfair. I feel like
especially when there's a rating slapped on the
it is on every whenever you go to a movie to see any movie, no matter what it is, it has like the following preview is rated PG-13 and it gives you everything there.
It's PG-13, PG. No, it's PG-13, and I think it's MA and R.
And and NC-17.
And NC-17,
yes.
yeah. So you have no excuse, especially when it comes to games. It's like you literally took a gaming company to court. They ruled and
Yes.
made an entire rating system.
Yes.
But then you want to buy your 6-year-old Grand Theft Auto 5
Yes.
and then get upset that you can gun people down it.
Yeah. See.
And even tell you on the back of the case what's in the damn thing.
Yeah, and that pisses me off, and that's what's getting me upset about certain parents. Y'all not taking the time out to do your research, sit down with your child, and tell them, hey, if you can handle this, you can play the game.
Yeah.
But if you can't, you're not gonna play the game.
I have been playing Grand Theft Auto since I was 5.
Yeah.
I have never once gone on a shooting spree.
No, I haven't either. I've done so much stuff in there in that game that I would never do it in reality.
And you know why that's the case? My mom, when she caught me doing it, because I was supposed to play the game at the time, I kind of snuck into my brother's room and played it. When she caught me playing it, she basically told me, look, what happens here stays on this game. It does not leave this. This is fantasy. It's not real. You can play it as long as you keep that in mind. And I did. I never took that with me. I never took it outside the game because it's meant to be in the game. A game is meant. At the end of the day, entertainment is escapism. You're not there to be preached at. You're not there to be told what is right is wrong. You're basically just there to enjoy a art form or a work of art that somebody or some group of people have put a lot of time and effort into making.
Yes, but that's a good example of good parenting though, and that's what I mean. At least your mom sat down with you and explained to you about that. I always see parents still to this day take their kids to GameStop and me just minding my business by looking at the corner of my eye, and they be sitting there buying me your game. And
Call of Duty, think about to a moment
Crisis.
Grand Theft Auto, which I talked about. It's like, and the kid can't be no more than like 6 or 7.
No.
Heaven forbid Dark Souls and Elden Ring like that.
No, actually, no. That's another one I see. Dark Souls, Elden Ring,
Bloodborne. Those are some bloody disturbing games.
But my whole point is, like, you sit there and I will see you purchase a game for your child that's that young, but then you, like you said, come back and get an attitude when it's too violent or too gory. Whose job is it to keep track of this? You. Again, it's on the case.
And not even that. You literally have the internet in your hand. You can look up clips of the thing you're buying. You have no excuse at this point.
People are just lazy. That's what it is. And that really just irritates me and bothers me to my core. And then as far as with the movie industry for me, I think directors can make their art, whatever movie it is, but I feel like to a certain extent, do not go overboard with it.
Yeah, do not go overboard.
And again, like you said earlier, Saw, they went overboard with it. Now, again, to me, it's a good franchise. They did what they did, but I will agree with you. No, they went way over the top with it. It was just too much gore. It was too much gore and all that. It would make me squeamish to the point. That and the Human Centipede.
I have not seen that movie. I know the premise. I will never willingly sit down and watch that movie.
My friends shouldn't watch it. But my whole point with that is like that. That's the perfect example of doing a movie and doing it over the top. That was unnecessary. What I saw in there was unnecessary. It did not need to be made. I don't know what the premise, the plot. I mean, I know the premise, but I don't know what the whole point was of making that movie or releasing it. What was the point of that?
Oh, I wish I could tell you, man. I really could. All I know is that I know that the premise was this doctor sews three people together, ass to mouth. And I'm like, nope, not doing that part.
But it's just like that's the example. That's the example for me. Like it's like when directors do movies that's over the top.
Yes.
I can't watch that. That's too much.
And at the same, another thing, like piggybacking off the point with the parents, a lot of you do not have faith in your kids.
No, you don't.
My father, and my brother had to tell me the story. My father took my brother when he was like 5 or 6 to see the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh.
And this was like back in the day.
Yeah.
The effects were very cheesy, very over the top. At the time, considered one of the best video game action movies of the time.
Yeah.
I think to this day it still is.
Excuse me.
But he took my brother there.
Yeah.
My brother had nowhere like maybe this tall.
Gotcha.
And everybody gave him this strange look. It's like, you're gonna take your kid to see Mortal Kombat? You're gonna take your kid to see this? My dad looked at them and said, it's my fucking kid. I will let him watch what I damn well please. This is the same man who said that I watched Terminator 2 when I was 6.
Yeah, but I will. But
the same movie the guy cuts his freaking arm off.
That's funny, but I will say that though, like I can tell the way you express about your dad, how he talked to them, that he knew and he trusted like your brother had was able to watch it and not get affected by it. But some parents that says that same exact thing about their kids really don't have faith in their kids. I can tell by looking at them, because I went to go see Night Shyamalan's Old. I saw a couple right beside me. They had 3 kids. One was a newborn. One was 8.
Was Old that one? I don't remember. Is Old that one where it's like they're on like a beach vacation and randomly the water?
That was his best movie.
I've not seen that. I saw a trailer for it.
No, it's really good.
We should sit down and watch that.
Yeah,
but yeah, actually,
and I went to watch it, and they had about 3 kids. A newborn, I think 8, just about looking at him, and I think 6 maybe at the most. But my whole point is the newborn. There's a scene where a girl's naked, and then like you just sitting there just showing
like full frontal or just
like the titties and everything. And
wow!
And then just hold the newborn there. What
was his rating?
It would be 13.
Okay.
But how I'm seeing it, I'm
but
for a newborn, if your other kid can handle it, okay, I can understand that. But a newborn, you just sitting there just letting your child watch this.
Yeah.
Now again, when you're a newborn, your mindset is not fully trained. So when you're watching this, you're just absorbing what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So later on, how I feel is that child may be affected by that. And it could be, but I'm just saying, I don't think you should bring a newborn to go see Old.
Well, the one thing about newborns, I remember this just from my time as an infant, which is like all of one memory.
Yeah.
You don't remember anything past before a certain age.
Okay.
Like my early memories when I was 3, we moved from our home in Virginia down here to North Carolina.
Gotcha.
But my parents were up and down. I can't remember that, but it's like, no, I remember that. And it's like when I describe what happened, it's like, oh no, that is it 1 for 1.
Wow. Jeez.
It was all like a 5-second memory, but I do remember it. But what happens? But I do see where you're coming from, because that might be a subconscious thing.
Yeah.
Once again, that's a decision on the parents.
Yeah.
I understand that, but you also can't then turn around and be upset when this affects them later.
Yeah. And that's my point. Yeah, you can't just do that. That was your fault.
Yeah.
You took your child to go see that movie.
Yeah.
Or play that game, whatever. But my point is though, like that irritates me. Like y'all feel like oh they're good watching at this certain age.
Yeah.
But when they come around and do something stupid in the long run, you're like, oh, I blame the company. Y'all shouldn't have made the movie. No.
Not only is that not their problem, it's not their priority.
No, it's not.
The company's priority, and I know I mentioned earlier that the studio does this because they were trying to make as much money as possible, which has become a major problem. If you've seen our Chasing Trends episode, you know why that's a big problem, because it just starts this whole big thing and kind of dilutes things. But I get that the company's problem, that the studios and production and all that stuff, their priority is making money.
Yes.
I get it. The parents, you need to understand that they don't care about the kids.
No, they don't.
They care about getting your money.
Oh my God! If parents, I'm going to say it right now, and I'm letting him finish. But if you honestly do not understand that and do not know that, you're living under a rock. Hollywood does not care about you. They don't even care about the actors.
They don't care about the writing. Remember that writing strike?
Yeah, no.
The reason why we have all these reality TV shows, they don't care.
No,
they don't care about their bottom line.
They don't care. All they care about is putting that money in their pockets. If they can make money off you or anybody, they don't care.
And ironically, you complaining is actually making them put out stuff that's even more egregious, more outrageous.
Yes.
Wanna know why? Because outrage sells.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if you don't want to go see it, the best way to do is just not spend your money on it. But you can't spend your money on it and then complain because they already got your money.
Yeah, because I've heard people like when Saw first came out, oh, this is too gory. Oh, this is too violent. And each time they kept saying it, It kept making more and more and more and more.
And they focus entirely on the gore and violence.
Yeah, and like you said, outrage sells. Outrage, violence, sex, drugs, it sells. It sells. They don't care. Hollywood does not care.
Which is why I prefer to flip and focus on specifically subject matter.
Yes.
Because if you could put subject matter, and this is why my dad got so furious. Actually, fun fact, the reason why my dad got Grand Theft Auto 3 is because he saw everybody on the news complaining and moaning about how, oh, it's so violent, it's turning kids violent, yada yada yada. Apparently, the moment he saw that, he said, bullshit, went out and bought Grand Theft Auto 3, sat my brother down, had him play it, and said, now how does it make you feel? It's like, but man's like, I don't know, it's fun.
There you go.
And that was it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because my parents I don't know if it was just my dad, because my mom was a little bit more, she's a little bit more tight on it. Like I said, she only playing
understandable.
games. But my dad, I think he understood that it's not the content, it's not the visual content, it's not the pretty wrapping paper to package it in. It's what it's about.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
And if you're mature enough to make that distinction, to understand that this is just the vehicle to deliver the message, the story and whatnot, then that's, in my opinion, the bigger side of a mature individual than whether or not you squirm with some blood happens.
Yeah, I was playing when the PS3 first came out. I was playing like Resistance, Fallen Man.
Yeah.
I was playing Killzone. I was playing Uncharted, and then, like as time went by, I was playing God of War 3. Now my mom was the same way, the exact same way like your mom was. But for some odd reason, like I tricked her into getting God of War 3. and when the scene
I bet you got your butt whooped.
Actually, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Surprisingly, I didn't. She just looked at me like in surprise. I think surprise slash disgust, because the scene popped up where he was having sex with all the women.
Oh,
and I had to press the button on the screen. So now keep in mind the screen's right here. Like imagine Brad, my mom, sitting right beside him, and all she's hearing the noises, and while I'm pressing the button, and she's like, "Is it what are you playing?" God of War. God of War. And but I mean, like, but she understood that, like, I understood it's just a game.
Yeah.
It's just a game for me. But it, again, like you said, games for me help me escape. Movies do too. They both do. So, like, again, I'm not gonna go out and just cut somebody up and attach them to an 18-wheeler truck. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm getting at is that if a child does that, that's not because the game's made.
No, it's them.
It's not because the comics made. It's not because the movies made. It's because you didn't do your damn job as a parent.
Yes.
And you either spoiled them, treated them like idiots, ignored cries for help, whatever it is. You did not pay enough attention. You did not care to pay attention to your kid to make sure that they were developing properly as
I see it all the time. I see it all the time. When kids get spoiled, they think they can get away with anything.
And a lot of times, they do.
They do, but
they literally try to get away with murder.
But that mentality, when they start playing games and when they start seeing, oh, you know what? Let me try this if I can get away with it.
Yeah.
And when some don't get away with it, they keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yeah.
But then the parent goes, oh, no. Don't put my child in jail. He just got a mental problem. No. That might be part of it. But the main problem is you.
Yeah, especially in these families, and this is going to get a bit of PSA here. Especially in these families who have very, very liberal views on guns.
Oh yeah.
You especially need to have conversations with your kids.
Oh yes, you do.
Paying close attention to what they're doing and talking about.
If I had guns in my house, I will. If I had kids, I would sit down with them when they're at that age of maturity to understand. I will sit down and tell them, look, this is not a toy. This is only for protection.
Yes.
I'm here. I have it in the house for protection for you, your mom, and your sister or brother, whoever it is in the house.
And for Doctor Who fans, you probably have seen Peter Capaldi's run as a Doctor. You've seen his war speech. Is a masterful monologue. The entire point of that episode was that the director was so happy with his acting.
Yes.
He wanted to see if he could hold an entire episode on just his acting alone.
That's good.
And he had I think a 20-minute monologue.
Jesus.
It is. I only have 5 minutes of it memorized. It is beautiful. But it is not. When we get around watching Doctor Who, you're going to love that speech. I promise you. But he has a whole thing about how dangerous a gun actually is. It's like, yes, you feel powerful in the moment, but when you fire that first shot, you don't know who's going to die.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know.
It's like, but here, especially in the U.S., we have this mentality of the gun is the ultimate equalizer. The gun does this. And like, no, the gun doesn't care.
No, the person does.
The person is ultimately the only person who can dictate whether someone lives or dies. The gun is not a deterrent.
The gun is basically now I might have this wrong, but the gun is the trigger man. That's basically it.
The middleman.
Yeah, so you're the middleman. Yeah, thank you. And it's just like, but it's like the gun has no emotions. Only the human does. So whoever the human chooses to use that gun on, at the end of the day, that's the human's choice.
Yeah, same thing with knives and forks. Like anything that can cause harm to somebody. Do you think that inanimate object cares about morality?
No.
It doesn't. So when you have these stuff like, so when we bring up stuff like mature content on it, we're talking specifically about the subject matter and how it is handled.
Yes.
Another one, for instance, and I know I've mentioned this a couple of times to you, but this is a show that some young members of my family have watched, and I have caught bits and pieces of it walking back and forth throughout the house and just hearing it. It's a show called I don't know the entire name of it. I should look it up at some point, but I know that that one thing that I think is called Ladybug. Yeah. And I think the title character, her superhero form, is called Ladybug.
Yeah, I remember talking.
But in it touches on, like, in the background of this thing, we have same-sex couples, we have plus-size couples, we have I believe we have interracial couples, but it's not something that's like they stop the show to focus on. They have they also have single mothers, but it's something that it's just like it's implied, and you can kind of infer as you're watching, but it doesn't distract from the overall message. That is a mature way to handle that content, because an immature way is to basically shove it out there where people kind of reject it and don't want to have a conversation about it.
And that's what I hate. Again, I don't mind having a conversation, but don't force that down my throat. That's what I don't like.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of this debate around what can be shown to kids is about, because they think they're forcing it on kids. No, they're not. You have to have the conversation, and when you do it in a mature way, you can get away with putting it around there. Like one of the big scenes that I just happened to catch walking through was with the main bully character. I believe the last name is Bourgeois. Okay. Which most ridiculous name ever, but given how she acts, I'm not surprised. And she's having a conversation, or at least she has like this heart to heart with the main protagonist, who she bullies throughout the show, I assume. And the main protagonist takes her to her mother. I forget what the context was, but the main protagonist takes the bully to the bully's mom. Yeah. And the bully asks her mother point blank, "Why don't you love me, mom?" Because I think the bully's whole point is that she doesn't feel like she gets attention from the one person she really wants from. Right?
So she goes out and bullies people for attention.
Yeah, essentially. And the way she
that's clever. I never seen that show.
And I'll get to it in a second. But I think the mom in that movie, I had to get to stop and see what was going on. I'm like, I'm not missing this. And the mom actually had to stop, look the character dead in the eye, and go, of course, she was caught off guard. Yeah. And I'm like, that's how you do it.
No, that is.
But once again, I don't know how good this show is. I just know that one moment stuck with me. Yeah. And I believe the show is actually aimed T7 and under.
Oh, really? Oh, no. They need to do higher then. Yeah. No, no, lower is not bad, but you need to maybe do higher. And teams.
And I know, I know that one thing I did catch. I remember one of my friends talking about. Apparently, the show was originally meant to be like Batman the Animated Series from back in the day. That was the inception of it, and I think it changed or something.
I think they should have kept it there, honestly.
And I don't know if it was a decision made by the creator of the idea, by the studio, or just something that they all collectively agreed on. But if this was a decision that was forced on them, whoever forced it, you give that show. No, if it was a decision that you guys decided was for the best, you've unintentionally gifted this show.
No, you didn't.
Now, once again, I've not seen the entire thing. Yeah. Maybe one day I will sit down. I don't know because shows aimed for young kids nowadays are a lot different than shows aimed for young kids back when we were young.
Man.
Like once again, about Batman the animated series. That show was aimed. I believe that show was actually PG-13 and under.
No, it
but
is.
At the time, PG-13.
But it's still a classic to me. That show is.
Same thing with Static Shock. Static Shock was actually
good. Yeah.
Static Shock was actually fun fact was actually redesigned to be aimed for preteens. It was not preteen at all.
Oh, okay, wow.
They did the redesign so it had broader appeal.
Yeah, because it worked. It worked.
But these shows, but once again, it's like, and once again, there's a very clear division between TV7 and like TV7 was like Tom and Jerry Kids, Baby Looney Tunes. Basically, like those were very clearly meant to be underage. But for PG-13, when they say PG-13, you're like PG-13 and up. PG-13 meant that there's just so mature things. This was still something you could watch as a kid. I was watching Static Shock. Static Shock came out like what 2000. I was like 6.
Yeah, I'm going age. I feel probably like 7 to 8.
And the stuff that Static Shock tackled, it tackled loss of a loved one. It tackled homelessness.
Racism.
It tackled racism. It tackled it very subtly tackled homosexuality. Because I don't know, and if you guys know, I told you this once, but I don't know anyone else knows, but Virgil's best friend Richie in the show is actually canonically gay.
I never knew that. When he told me that, I was like, ain't no way. And when he's playing a certain scene, I was like, that makes sense.
There's a specific scene, and this is where people act, because nobody knew. It was never pointed out in the show. It was never made a big deal. It was never even. It was slightly hinted at throughout the show, but it was in such a way where it's just like you just assume that Richie's a very enthusiastic nerd who doesn't care about girls. But there's a scene in the later episodes. I believe it's the one where they encounter the Hoop Squad, which is basically the squad of superpowered basketball players. One of which is off the Lakers team for some freaking reason. And they're fighting at this nanite machine. Anyway, Virgil's sister Sharon comes in, and she's dating the anti-hero Batman, and she has like this new outfit on.
Yes.
And Richie goes, "Hey," she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And Virgil's like, "Hey, what's up, sis?" Yeah. And Richie's like, "Hey, Sharon, nice dress." It's not even like he's flirting with me. He's just like, "Nice dress." It just keeps it going. She's like, "Oh, thank you." And Dwayne McDuffie, who unfortunately passed away, I think due to I want to say brain cancer.
Oh, geez.
He passed away like I want to say he was like 40 something.
What?
Yeah, he was really young when he passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
I have to look it up again, but he unfortunately passed away. He also wrote one of the best DC animated films, Crisis on Two Earths. Very good. Watch if you get a chance to. And somebody asked him, I want to say it was on a chat room or it was in a convention, but they asked him, like, "Hey, is Richie gay?" And his response was, "You know what? Yeah, he is, but we just didn't see it as like a big deal at the time.
Okay.
We just made that decision because we thought it would be interesting. Because people have to remember that Static Shock, he's part of he's one character in a bigger story comic book series that Warner Bros. Not Warner Bros. That DC bought. I forget what it's called. I forget what it's called. But it has Icon, Hardware. Icon was a black man who basically fell to Earth, but he fell to Earth during slave times.
I don't know none of these characters. Wow.
You've seen Icon. I guarantee you've seen Icon. He's basically the black guy in like the red suit, the black.
Oh, okay.
He's the only character that Superman has legitimately said, "Yeah, this guy's punches fucking hurt."
Oh, okay. No.
And these characters were started by Dwayne McDuffie, a Jewish man, and somebody else, and they were specifically designed because they wanted to make comic book characters for minority individuals. They just didn't exist when they made them. So they tackled a lot of mature subject matter. Racism, discrimination, all this stuff.
That's what I miss about those directors now, because those directors had a really good idea of what they wanted in the show. Nowadays, it's just stupid dumb stuff.
Yeah. And once again, the final thing we'll keep pushing. But the reason why Static Shock ended up in DC and why these other characters from his comic book title ended up in DC's hands is because they worked in the same building. Oh. That's literally it. They worked down the hall from each other.
Wow.
And at one point, I think that comic book the comic book company was going bankrupt, and DC said, "How about we buy it?" And that was literally it.
Wow.
That's why you see Static Shock and Icon and Hardware and stuff like that in Young Justice and whatnot, and then now in the Timverse, as it's called, for Justice League, Superman, Batman, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But what we're getting at is that back in the day, it wasn't the violence, it wasn't the action,
No.
it was literally the subject matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like parents nowadays, I won't say our generation of parents. I think generations above us got too scared that all these new and crazy and mature ideas were being put on TV on the one thing that they thought was so harmless that they could just let it raise their kids, that they get upset when they see it. Now, I understand that you want to, as a parent, have some say, have some control in how your kids are raised. I understand that. But you gotta understand, at some point they're gonna leave the nest. At some point they're gonna bump to a friend who plays these games or watching this content, and you have no control over that friend. You have no control over their lifestyle. So you have to be able to talk to your kids and say, look, you're gonna see certain things, you're gonna do certain things. I want you to understand, I expect you to not do this and to do this.
Yes. But now that's what they told me when I went off to college, because I had never had sex until I hit college. I was really waiting until I got married. I was like, but the whole point was like they said what she just said to my wife, I don't want you to do this, or do this. But if you do any of those, do it responsibly. But I'm going to tell you this right now: if you end up in jail for something like that, I'm not bailing you out.
Yeah.
They told me.
Yeah, that's what they told me too. They basically said in this world. Well, they also gave me. This is going back to the very first time I had a police officer try to falsely arrest me when I was 13.
Yeah.
They basically told me, in this world, you get 3 strikes, and there's a 3-strike rule in this world.
That's a lot.
And you've already lost 2. You're black and you're a young man. That's what my parents.
Okay, that's true.
So basically, I only have 1 strike. So they basically told me that you have to be on your best behavior.
Yes.
And this is what, once again, this is. I'm sure it's different from household to household.
Yes.
Or anyone goes, oh, it can't be like that. Yes, it can
Yes,
be like that.
yes,
It can be like
yes,
that.
it
Just
is.
because you don't want to believe it's like that doesn't mean it's not.
Yes.
This is what I mean by having a mature thought, because
you have to have a mature thought.
because it's like because it's like I miss when these studios took risks and focused on the subject matter, not the aesthetic.
Because during our time they did that a whole lot. A lot of kids shows, and I appreciate it.
They took a lot of
now it's just you know what just put this in here, put this character in here, put all these colors in here. Don't make the script make any sense. Just put anything in there.
Here's a checklist. Make sure this checklist is checked off, and go from there. Like for example, the Animaniacs. That show, as it existed before it got remade, could not exist today. Because
oh my God!
There's literally, they would talk about how they would do all this stuff to get around. So like one episode, they said, okay, we want to have Wacko. I think it was Wacko. Whoever the hat was. We want to have him hit this guy with a baseball bat. They said, just go, no, we can't have him hit him with a baseball bat. That's too violent. Like, okay, what do we do bat wings on it? Okay, that's fine.
I remember that. I remember that. No, you remember that. No, I remember.
And then there's the one that always cracks me up.
What?
And I'm like, how the hell did you get away with this?
Which one was that?
It's like, okay, I think it's Yakko and Dot. They're on a cruise ship, and they go, okay, searching for fingerprints. It's like searching for prints. And she comes back with the actual fingerprints, and he goes, no, fingerprints. And Prince has this smile on his face, and Dot goes, I don't think so. I'm like, how? How? And Prince looks so disappointed.
That show, that show could not air. Freakazoid could not air. Pinky and the Brain could not air.
Not as it used to. Like literally, they had to put it exclusively on Hulu. I'm not seeing the Hulu remake.
Wait, bro?
They did a remake like 2 years ago.
I haven't.
I say a remake. It's a continuation of the show on Hulu.
Yes.
And which is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm surprised that.
I can't find Freakazoid. It's hard to find that. I can't find it.
It should be. I think if you get the original Animaniacs collection, it should be in there.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, it's like shows like that. They just can't be made anymore because they took too many risks. And once again, Steven Spielberg bankrolled this show. Steven Spielberg actually, I found this out in a documentary series about it. he would always go to bat for the studio. Like the censors have tried to get them to reel it back so many times throughout the course of the original run of the show, but Steve, on top of Spielberg, on top of bankrolling it, basically told them, look, as long as you're doing good, as long as people are laughing and enjoying it, you can do whatever. I will go back for you. That's how much of a G Spielberg was.
Now I appreciate that. But again, nowadays it's not like that.
It's not like that anymore. You have to keep in mind this.
Another example, and I'm glad you brought that up, is like the Harley Quinn show.
Oh God! Please start this one off.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for this. Now look. What Brad just said, that was excellent. Nowadays, for the Harley Quinn show, spoiler alert, there's a romantic a relationship between Ivy and Harley, right?
Yeah.
So I get why they put it in there. It works. Now, one of the writers on the team wanted to do a scene where Batman goes down on Catwoman. I want to see that. I've never seen it. Again, I'm just saying I want to see it. Now, one of the head creators or head writers told him, no, we can't put that in there. Batman's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't see the correlation in that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, remember, Harley Quinn and Ivy, even in the original Batman the Animated Series, there was
a sexual relation, a sexual tension.
I won't say tension, but it was heavily implied that at some point this friendship would turn something else. And when it did, no one batted an eyelash.
Yes.
So when Harley Quinn happened, and you have multiple scenes of them implied sleeping together.
Oh yeah.
That was once again, Harley Quinn was meant to be the Deadpool of the anime universe.
No, that's true. Yes.
But for some reason, Batman being a good guy means he can't give his woman head.
Yes, but again, my issue with this was he's not a good guy, and I'll explain why real quick. But the other thing I want to say is Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne is a bachelor.
He's a playboy.
Yeah, a playboy. Yeah, playboy. He gets women every day. So what do you expect for him to do?
I mean, he's not on the level of Tony Stark. That was a whole different
yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that
he's a playboy.
He's dating other people. He
different women every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least in the comics, in the shows, they show that they make his love life like a very more prominent thing. But the point I get is this: what does him being a hero have to do with his sex life?
Thank you. That's all I'm trying to ask. It doesn't make any sense.
And then here's the thing, right? You don't want him going down on his woman, right? And it was after the arc where they actually got married.
Yes.
But 2 months later, you announced that Superman's son is bisexual.
Yeah, and I had a problem with that. I had a problem with that. Because here's why. You're okay with telling people about this and showing it to the world, but not Batman going down on a woman.
And honestly, I think it's even a bigger problem than that. They don't. For some reason, they don't want to depict a romantic relationship.
They don't.
Unless it's a specific kind. I'm like, if you're going to depict romance, you have to depict it on all sides.
Yeah, but
that's part of the maturity of it.
But again, back to what we said, maturity has changed over years.
Yeah.
Because I remember for romance-wise, maturity, it was always a man and woman.
Yeah.
Now it's been a woman or a man.
Yeah.
And again, if the story and the plot fits with that, y'all do what y'all gotta do. But what I'm saying, that doesn't make any sense. What does him being nice have to do with his sexual preference and going down with somebody?
Yeah,
I don't get that.
I don't get it either. And the only thing that I can think of is an overreaction to recent events, and it's not even on a sexual side. Because remember, this came out like around the time that it was coming out that a lot of these big, basically Epstein.
Yeah.
My bad. Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Epstein's into that too. But it came out around the same time. It's exactly because honestly, I think what it is, it has nothing to do with him being straight, being white, or a man. I think it has everything to do with him being in a position of power. But the problem with that is,
what does that do with?
But the problem with that is, by saying that, you take away Catwoman's power, because Catwoman, consistently in the dynamic of the comics,
she's
she's the one who starts the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. But my
she's the one in control. And I'm like,
yeah, but what does that other stuff have to do with this? With this,
it's like you're literally getting the surface level stuff,
and you're trying to get an excuse.
And you make an excuse, and you get the surface level stuff confused.
Yes.
Confused with the content.
Shit.
It's not about them having a sexual relationship. It's about them being in a relationship.
And that's the immaturity. That's the mature part. Yeah. That's the mature part. But the immature part is y'all using talking about he's a good guy, so we can't put this in here. That's immature.
Yes.
That's immature.
What that basically means is what that tells me is not that you're trying to make more mature content. That tells me that you're too immature to actually have a backbone.
No, it is, and that got everybody upset, and I have to applaud Zack Snyder for doing this. He is an OG for doing this. So after that came out, he on his Instagram posted a picture of Batman going down Catwoman.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious.
I was like, Zack Snyder's an OG. Yeah. This is why I love Zack Snyder even before that. But like, that's an OG move.
Yeah,
that's an OG move.
He's not my favorite director, but I gotta give the man props.
The man's an OG. He didn't care.
Like you gotta give props to do. Right?
Yeah.
Another instance. I wanted to go back to one of my favorite games of all time, Xenoblade Chronicles. In Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there's a character, and you know how the game works is that you get multiple like extra characters to help you go through the game.
Yes.
And you know a lot of commentary been put on the over-sexualization of women and stuff in the game. Okay, fine, whatever. One of them has like this character who's like this she's basically a Playboy bunny as exaggerated as possible.
Okay.
Like even Lola Bunny and Jessica Rabbit going, hot damn. Yeah. And the character, I'm not gonna spoil it because I think the character's personal story is actually very very well written. But it's like that's what I'm getting at. Like you focused so much on her physical appearance to the point where there was an article about the body horror of Xenoblade Chronicles. So I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And it's like, did you guys just gloss over the story? And this is why I say the aesthetics are only a vehicle to pull you in.
Yes.
Every human being, like we're not going to, in my opinion, in order for us to get to the point that people are trying to expect people to be to, we'd have to be like the neutral people from Futurama.
Oh yeah. Oh man, those people were very neutral.
Where they just we're literally just seeing like, if I die, tell my life hello. I'm like,
yeah,
like that's neutral. That's what it feels like you want us to get to. And if that's the case, you're not making good cinema. You're not making good games. You're not making good art. What you're doing is you're being a spineless coward.
Yeah.
And taking the easiest way out so you can do the least amount of work.
Again, aka immature. It's immature.
Yeah.
God, I miss old directors and old shows back in the day.
And on top of that, you have other people who are, you know, in response to this, and I think this is a needed response, but I think it goes over the top. There are people who go way too overboard in the opposite direction.
Yes.
You know, once again we talk about, you know, Saw and whatnot, but then you have like movies where it's like they have like these graphic depictions of sex scenes that go on and on and on, and they have no bearing on the plot whatsoever. Like you could literally cut it out and nothing would change. It'd be one thing if it was like we're building up to this moment, and we want to kind of like hang on it for like maybe a minute or two.
Yes.
You know, that's one thing. It's another thing when it really just kind of comes out of nowhere. You're hanging on for 5 minutes, and then you move on and don't bring it up again.
I've seen that, and I get so I'm just like, what? Wait, what does that do to the story?
It's like and I think the main point we're trying to get across here is that as consumers of content, we have to do our due diligence to look at something and go, is this for me? Not do I want it to be for me?
Yes.
Is this for me? Am I willing to take a chance to look at
exactly.
it? And as content creators, we have to look at this and go, is this necessary?
Yes.
Like I'm going back to Xenoblade 2. Well, that's nothing to do with Xenoblade in general. The creator of the series, and I realized this, I didn't realize this later, but both games are team for team, which is surprising considering the content and subject matter they deal with in a lot of instances. But I think a lot of things do with the fantasy aesthetic of the game.
Yeah.
But the creator said, I want to make an M for mature game so I can do, and I quote, whatever the hell I want.
Wow.
This is from the same man who has started 2 different Xeno series games and lost control of both of them by having his team kicked off of it from. So what happened is he started Xeno Saga. Xeno Saga started in I want to say the mid '90s.
Okay.
It was a 4-disc game that had the last third of it cut off of the story and turned into a PowerPoint presentation because Square Enix didn't want to keep fronting the bill for it. It is considered a very, very well written story game.
Wow.
And there was Xenogears, which they went to Capcom for. Capcom, same thing, but they actually did finish the game, but they said, okay, we're done, we're not funding anymore. Then they went to Nintendo. Nintendo said, here's a wad of cash, go for it.
Wow. Okay.
So and the game was so popular that, well, I mean, I'll say here's a wad of cash, go for it, but they didn't release it in like America.
Gotcha.
They released it in like Japan and Europe, but it got such a big request to be brought over from Americans, and it did so phenomenally well that now it's like America is now on the release schedule. It's on the release. Like
that's
they will release it here. It's a whole big thing. We'll get into that one day. But what I'm getting at is that like when you take the time to write out your plot, to understand what happens from start to finish, and at one point Star Wars did this. They understood their plots very specifically. They understood what they wanted to tell. They understood how they were going to tell it. It doesn't matter what the aesthetic is, people will watch it. Star Wars episodes 1 to 6 are for all ages.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Episodes 7 to 9 are for literally
adults.
8 and under.
Oh, really?
Because they don't handle the subject matter in a mature fashion. They bring it up.
What was the titles again?
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. Now you're right.
Those are aimed specifically at children. Episode 6 and 1, and to some extent 2, you can make the argument as well, but they told the story in a methodic way. They laid it out very carefully. They took it very like the main character of the entire series is going to show up to like the first 30 minutes of episode 1.
You're right.
And it's like, and that's why I say you can watch all 60 movies at any age and still have a great time. Episodes 7, 8, 9, I feel like you can only watch them from the ages of 4 to 9.
Yeah.
Before you get bored with them. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like when you treat your audience with the confidence that they can handle what it is you want to show them, and not have to spoon feed them, not have to force it and whatnot.
There you go.
People can watch anything. It's one reason why I consider The Prince of Egypt one of my favorite movies. Yes, it's a religious movie, but they don't force the message down your throat. No. Like I was legitimately shocked when we went back and rewatched it at how much they focused on not the relationship between Moses and God as the Ten Commandments likes to do, which I think is completely missing the damn point.
I've never seen that. I've never even watched.
You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. It's like a 5-hour trilogy movie. You're not missing anything.
Oh God, no, I'm good.
With I mean, granted, it was classic acting at the time, but nowadays it just doesn't hold up at all.
No.
And I'm not going to act like credit where credit's due. I'm sure the actors at the time, these were like big name blockbuster actors.
Yes.
But it was literally the same guy remade his movie twice.
Yeah.
One time with the black and white, the other one he put it in color. Didn't change too much, and it's a boring song to get through. Prince of Egypt, yes, it's a musical. Yes, it stars people from Top Gun, Patrick Stewart and all this stuff. But they also focus it where I think it needs to be focused on the relationship between at this point you've probably seen the episode, but with Prince of Egypt. But they focus on Ramses and Moses and what the worlds colliding and how their backgrounds and everything come together. If you want to see it as a religious movie, you'll get a lot out of it. If you want to see it as just a fun animated musical, I think you'll still get something out of it.
You definitely are. I 100% agree.
And that's what I mean by mature.
Yes.
The surface level stuff, the gore, the sex, the drugs, the
porn,
all that stuff, that's superficial.
Yes.
That's superficial.
Yes.
What matters is what is being talked about.
Yes. And that, I have to agree. 100%.
And I honestly miss the days when we had people who actually had enough backbone to talk about this.
Oh God, Jesus!
And we're not. It had more confidence in other people's kids than they have in their own children.
Man, oh man, the part I keep saying, this generation is soft.
Yeah.
It are soft.
It's either that they're soft or just being mad. You just have something to do.
No, but it's both. But
Yeah.
it's both that irritates me. When I grew up, man, I had tough love.
Yeah.
Tough love. They gave it to me straight. On anything. If I want to have sex, I want to smoke, whatever. They gave me real talk. But they told me the consequences of that if I do that.
It's not just no, don't do that.
Yes.
Or go go ahead and go for it. It's okay. You're going at some point you're going to want to do X, Y, and Z. Just remember that A, B, and C can happen with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the moment. But yeah, man, it's just overall like we keep saying, it's just you have to be mature and responsible to understand like what certain shows and games you play that are mature enough for you to handle.
Yes. And if you're a parent, you have to do your due diligence to understand.
You have to
understand
God.
not only what is out there right now, but what you would want your kids to like. But for instance, the only show that was straight up blocked on my TV at my house when I was growing up
South Park.
was South Park. My dad had that show specifically blocked, and because either A, he didn't think I could handle it, or B, he didn't approve of what it was talking about. I have to ask him. I never figured it out.
If I had to guess, I would know. I'm probably guessing both.
And
I've seen it.
And given how my father is, I think he felt that it didn't tackle it didn't joke about its content in a mature way. Because he had no problem with watching Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor.
Oh, no, well, of course, it's Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
It's Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor. You can't go wrong with them.
Yeah. But with South Park, he was like, "This is a hard no."
Yeah, but
and I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think most people kind of agreed that South Park, as shock value as it is, doesn't hold a candle to Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor.
No, it don't because again, like South Park, they were just people like who didn't care, who they offended. So yeah, that was considered that's considered immature. I've seen some like back in the day, some episodes back in the day. Yeah, they were immature. They didn't care.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah, it was a shock value, and I get it if that's what you're into. Once again, and that also goes to the point. You know what at that point when you're watching that show, you understand what's for you and what's not for you.
Yeah.
But again, as an adult, you have to take initiative. You have plenty of opportunity to have parental controls, blockers and stuff to say that I don't want you watching this, I don't want you watching that, I don't want you playing this, I want you playing that. There's a parental blocker on consoles too. You literally have no excuse.
Yes, exactly. No, 100%, you're right.
Yeah.
Everything.
And if you get mad of that your kid,
that's on you.
Yeah, that's all on you.
That's on you.
And when your kid never goes on a shooting spree, that's
on
also on you too.
I'm not holding back on that. That's on you.
I'm not holding back either because I'm honestly sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of everybody going like, "Oh, he's such a nice kid."
No.
Or no, he's my baby would never do it. Like no, the baby would do this. He did do it.
Did that parent sit down with that child and explain and talk to them, give a serious conversation?
I bet you no. I bet you they brushed it off or just acted like, everything's fine.
Thank you. Yeah. That's a term right there, brushed off. I knew they most likely they brushed it off.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it every single time. I don't know why. Y'all have to have the uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
It's just necessary.
Yeah. And you see something you don't like, then you have to explain to your child why you don't like it. Like I know that it's gonna get a lot of flack. I understand why it's gonna get a lot of flack, but you have to understand when it comes to like all these new age of progressive ideas, there are a lot of people who are just not for it. And the way I see it is, if you're not for it, you explain to your kid why you're not for it, and if the argument you make makes sense, it will stand on its own.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, which I think we both agreed that the argument against it just never makes sense, it's not going to last. That kid will eventually grow up, see that their parent is wrong, and then start making their own decisions.
Yeah, still do it. So.
Yeah. That's all there is to it. That's what it means to be mature. It's not just what can you control, what can you say no to. It's what are you willing to sit down and think and have a conversation about.
There you go.
That's it.
It's simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. Anyway, we went on quite a rant today. If you have any thoughts on this Leave it down below.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
No, I do. No, I really do. I want to hear y'all comments and y'all feedback and y'all opinions on this.
Yeah, because this is once again this is just our two
opinions on
on it. What are your opinions on it? What do you feel also could be contributed to the conversation? What do you feel is also important? What do you feel is X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
We want to hear from you guys,
I do.
everybody. As long as you're willing to have a mature conversation about it.
Yes, there you go.
If you're just screaming to be screaming, you have no argument. You're
go.
just screaming to be screaming.
There you go.
Anyway, I've been on to the next. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Just being mad, you just have something to do.
No, but it's both. It's both that irritates me. When I grew up, man, I had tough love.
Yeah.
Tough love. They gave it to me straight. On anything. If I want to have sex, I want to smoke, whatever. They gave me real talk. But they told me the consequences of that if I do that.
It's not just no, don't do that.
Yes.
Or go go ahead and go for it. It's okay. You're going at some point you're going to want to do X, Y, and Z. Just remember that A, B, and C can happen with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the moment. But yeah, man, it's just overall like we keep saying. It's just you have to be mature and responsible to understand like what certain shows and games you play that are mature enough for you to handle.
Yes. And if you're a parent, you have to do your due diligence to understand.
You have to
understand not only what is out there right now, but what you would want your kids to like. But for instance, the only show that was straight up blocked on my TV at my house when I was growing up
South Park.
Was South Park. My dad had that show specifically blocked, and because either A, he didn't think I could handle it, or B, he didn't approve of what it was talking about. I have to ask him. I never figured it out.
If I had to guess, I haven't met him. I'm probably guessing both. I've seen it.
And given how my father is, I think he felt that it didn't tackle it didn't joke about its content in a mature way, because he had no problem with watching Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor.
Oh no, well, of course, it's Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
It's Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor. You can't go wrong with them.
Yeah. But with South Park, he was like, "This is a hard no."
Yeah, but
and I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think most people kind of agreed that South Park, as shock value as it is, doesn't hold a candle to Bernie Mac and Richard Pryor.
No, it don't, because again, like South Park, they were just people like who didn't care, who they offended. So that was considered that's considered immature. I've seen some like back in the day, some episodes back in the day. Yeah, they were immature. They didn't care. Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, it was a shock value, and I get it. If that's what you're into, once again, and that also goes to the point. You know what at that point when you're watching that show, you understand what's for you and what's not for you.
Yeah.
But again, as an adult, you have to take initiative. You have plenty of opportunity to have parental controls, blockers and stuff to say that I don't want you watching this, I don't want you watching that, I don't want you playing this, I want you playing that. There's a parental blocker on consoles too. You literally have no excuse.
Yes, exactly. No, 100%, you're right.
Yeah.
Everything.
And if you get mad that your kid,
that's on you.
Yeah, that's all on you.
That's on you.
And when your kid never goes on a shooting spree, that's also on you too.
I'm not holding back on that. That's on you.
I'm not holding back either, because I'm honestly sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of everybody going like, "Oh, he's such a nice kid."
No.
Or no, my baby would never do it. Like, no, the baby would do this. He did do it.
Did that parent sit down with that child and explain and talk to them, give a serious conversation?
I bet you no.
No.
I bet you they brushed it off or just acted like, everything's fine.
Thank you, That's a term right there, brushed it off. I knew most likely they brushed it off.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing it every single time. I don't know why. Y'all have to have the uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
It's just necessary.
Yeah. And if you see something you don't like, then you have to explain to your child why you don't like
it.
Like I know that it's gonna get a lot of flack. I understand why it's gonna get a lot of flack, but you have to understand when it comes to like all these new age of progressive ideas, there are a lot of people who are just not for it. And the way I see it is, if you're not for it, you explain to your kid why you're not for it, and if the argument you make makes sense, it will stand on its own.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, which I think we both agreed that the argument against it just never makes sense, it's not going to last. That kid will eventually grow up, see that their parent is wrong, and then start making their own decisions.
Yeah, still do it. So.
Yeah. That's all there is to it. That's what it means to be mature. It's not just what can you control, what can you say no to. It's what are you willing to sit down and think and have a conversation about.
There you go.
That's it.
It's simple.
Yeah, it's that simple. Anyway, we went on quite a rant today. If you have any thoughts on this, leave them down below.
Yeah,
I want to hear from you.
No, I do. No, I really do. I want to hear your comments and your feedback and your opinions on this.
Yeah, because this is once again this is just our two
opinions
on it. What are your opinions on it? What do you feel also could be contributed to the conversation? What do you feel is also important? What do you feel is X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
We want to hear from you guys, everybody. As long as you're willing to have a mature conversation about it.
Yes, there you go.
If you're just screaming to be screaming, you have no argument. You're just screaming to be screaming.
There you go.
Anyway, I've been on to the next, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.